You so much for joining this channel. So I have started one series on MCP Model Context Protocol. So already I have done the day one. Please go through that. So in day two, we will just do an extension of day one to understand in depth. And from day three, we'll try to start the practical coding, how we can leverage MCP in different scenario. So in the day two, the objective of this episode is understanding the complete architecture. We already discussed in the day one what is host, what is client, what is server, prompt, resources, tool, but we will do it a little bit deep dive over here. Then I will understand the role of the client server, understand how tools, resource, prompt fit, then how JSON RPC used for communication, what is the stat spot mechanism being used, then an end-to-end MCP request for user. What we have discussed in the workflow in the day one, the same thing we will do in the day two also, but in a detailed manner. And then prepare for building first MCP server that we will do in the day three. So in the episode one, we learned what is MCP and why it is created, right? What is the purpose? What business problem it's resolve? What are the issues we are facing with the multiple tools and how we can get rid of that. So in the episode one, we understood what is MCP. In episode two, we understand how does MCP actually work. Once you understand the architecture, building the MCP server and the client become easier. So MCP answer, say for example, how can AI securely connect external capabilities like tools and everything? It doesn't, MCP doesn't mean for how to coordinate for, for multi-agent framework. How I deploy, that is Azure Foundry is one. How do I orchestrate, that is also a MAF work or supervisor pattern. So only when you get an answer, how can an AI securely connect external capabilities, then you think of MCP. So semantic kernel you already discussed in the initial days, 18 videos, okay, code review agent and everything that we have done. So what is the difference? Semantic kernel is actually for plugin function planner, but MCP for tool, resource and the prompt. So modern trade, semantic kernel being used along with the MCP tool when you need it to interact with the external capabilities. Many ecosystems are moving from towards MCP compatible tools. Foundry, we already have another session, another playlist for Foundry that is going on. So here we are trying to understand in nutshell like what is the difference between Foundry and MCP. Foundry means where we discuss about model, deployment, agent service, evaluation, monitoring, governance, quota management, everything we have discussed. How the managed platform works. MCP, tool standard, interoperability protocol. How do I expose capabilities to an AI agent? Then MCP. What platform? Then Foundry. MAF we discussing, that is my Microsoft Agent Framework, just like LangChain, LangGraph. Difference, MAF for how do agent collaborate, right? As I mentioned, agent, communication, supervisor, worker, memory, and everything. Architecture that you already done, worker agents, means agent to agent communication or multi-agent framework. But tool means MCP server, MCP client, tool, prompt, resource. So it's like a LLM, MCP client, server, business system. So high level architecture, let me show you the normal one, then I will diagram. User will talk to the host application. Suppose you open a Visual Studio Code and you are writing a Agentic AI code that will talk to the MCP client, say for example, Jira MCP, GitHub MCP or Gmail MCP. And then it actually interact with the MCP server through the JSON-RPC model, JSON-RPC request response, and MCP actually taking care of tools, resources, prompts. If it is only one and two tool, you do not need this MCP server client. You directly interact with the tool. However, more than 100 tools or huge number of tools, better to use the MCP client server communication. And then this tool interact with all secure server, all these capabilities, because LLM don't have the capacity to talk to this external system. So as I mentioned that this is the architecture and this is the diagram: user, host application, MCP client, MCP server, JSON RPC being used between client and the server, and then these things are being called. So component one is host, then MCP client server, and then tool, data, prompt, resources. So when I say host, it is VS Code, Cloud, Desktop, Chat, GPT, anything. Host is as well accepting user input where you are entering the details and starting the MCP. You can see host AI app, user experience, model, MCP client, LLM communication, everything has been done. Now the MCP client is actually a bridge between the host and the MCP server. And MCP client talk to the MCP through JSON-RPC. MCP server actually, okay, hosting all the tools, resources, and the prompts. This is also handle validation, authentication, authorization, business logic, external integration that like SQL, API. Okay, you can see this agent talk to this server, tools, database, file access, calendar, ticket creation. Wherever you need a third-party tool. Now, tool actually, that the weapon I will use, okay, to actually integrate. Suppose for sending email, Gmail, searching product, suppose for your website, calculate tax. So, tool means unique name, suppose search policy, what it does, search company policy document, input from query, output from result. There is some specific schema that will be followed. Resources means what are the resources you have? Handbook, policies, PDF, right? These are resources. So resources means file content, database schema, API document, policy document, knowledge base, just like a building a system. Prompt, what is the prompt you are giving? Like reusable template, code review, bug, email, the standard prompt you can use. The difference when I say tool, that means sending an email, it is actually tool work. But getting a user profile information from the company document is resource, and how you are doing summarizing or you are setting context, that is prompt. These three together actually help MCP server to get the output from the tool. And how MCP server and client communicate, that is through JSON-RPC. You just remember this, not required to any implementation is automatically taken care of, but just remember this communication. What is the MCP flow? The total MCP flow. So MCP flow is MCP server will be connected, client list available tools, model choose the tool, client saying tool call, server execute and return to the model. What are the transport? Because since it is a communication, right, between server and the client, there is a communication mechanism. If either it is a STDIO, standard input output, or HTTP for web application, this is for desktop application. Another one is for enable streaming response. If you want streaming response on the server, these three ways you can communicate. So if it is a local and it is streaming HTTP streaming means it will not wait till the end. It will give you the response as long as soon as the data start coming, just like in ChatGPT. So end-to-end flow, show my remaining. Suppose I'm asking this question in the host. User enter the request in the host application. Host forward this request to the AI model, LLM model. AI determine it need external data or not, definitely. Then if you get external data, then if it is more than one tool or two tool or three tool, it connect to the MCP client, discover which appropriate tool. Then client send a JSON RPC request to the MCP server. MCP server manage prompt, resources, and the tool. MCP server execute the business logic at their end. Then server retrieve the data from the HR system. Server return data to the client. AI combine the retrieved data with reasoning. So the host displays the final answer to the user. This separation ensures that the AI focus on the reasoning. So AI focus on the reasoning, MCP tool, everything should only control the handling the external capabilities to get the data. This line is very important. Same diagram is the resource my remaining balance. Forward this to the host application. Then the it will MCP client reasoning. After reasoning, then it will discover the tool from the MCP server. MCP server take a help of the prompt tool and resources and get the response from these multiple tools, and it will be give back to the client give back to the host, and then the user. So benefits, clear separation, just like our clean architecture is the clear separation of MCP client, server, okay, or tools, or you can say backend and the front end, standardized communication. We have a protocol, JSON-RPC communication, also reusable integration. Whatever you are defining, that you can use it with the multiple agents, vendor independence, nobody is overlapping each other. You can scalable, you can add or remove, you can secure individually, easier maintenance, consistent AI behavior. So component user that I mentioned, user interact with AI, host provide user interface, MCP client communicate with MCP server. MCP server expresses the AI capabilities through tools, resource, and the prompt. Tool internally perform actions. Resources actually refer to the documents and whatever stored will help in the React system. Prompt offer user reusable templates so that it can be like code review or any other things, right? It is very common that will be used. An enterprise system store business data and execute operations. So key takeaway, MCP follows a layer architecture, just like clean architecture or onion architecture. Host provides the user experience. MCP server and client communicates with the server. So client talk to the host and talk to the server also. And server actually do the three primary capabilities: tool, resources, and the prompts. JSON-RPC being used between client and the server, and different transport mechanism like the STDIO, HTTP, or the streaming can be used. Understanding the architecture is very essential, okay, for before writing the MCP. So in the next session, we'll start writing MCP project and we will leverage whatever concept we have built up: host, client, server. So you will use our local server also, you will use the remote server also. Both cases we will check. If required, .NET is not capable enough, then in that case I will use the Python also. Ultimately, our main purpose objective is to understand MCP and how to leverage MCP. So hope you enjoyed this. Okay, and again we'll meet into the day 3 for creating first MCP project. Okay, to the .NET. If some problem, then we'll move to the Python. Thank you.